Hello, and welcome back to another upload. Not a daily upload, but I've been hearing all these things about baseball and softball, right? So I'm just gonna look and tell you my personal opinion on this whole argument, okay? First off, I want to start off by saying they're both hard, okay, in their respective categories, okay? I would definitely say that fielding in softball is a lot harder, okay? Bigger ball, harder to catch, right? Harder to pitch, right? And there's all these other factors that go into that, okay? But baseball, in my opinion, it's a little bit harder to hit, okay? Just because I feel like a ball going up, naturally, you have like a golf swing kind of, so you go down and up. So you can hit it if you just like swing even just like a tad bit early, you're still gonna clip it. In baseball, there's a lot more pitches and they're a little bit faster. And now, obviously, like I get, they're not as close and stuff, but okay, let's get back into here. So, the MLB, right? It's a way bigger league because for some reason, I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like there should be a lot more women's sports. Like, I know that there's a professional softball league, but it is so incredibly small that, in my opinion, that's just not fair. Especially since softball is competing with baseball for activity and how hard it is and stuff. But, I just think that, in their own respective categories, there's such a big, there's a huge difference, right? Because baseball, you're a farther pitcher, bigger field, faster balls, right? Softball, a little bit closer, slower pitches, a lot different pitchers, shorter field, okay? The reason for softball having a shorter field is obvious. It's softball, since they're so much bigger and have higher, they're just like bigger, they weigh a little bit more, making them harder to hit farther, right? Well, obviously, like, you'd be thinking, well, it's easier to hit a harder ball. Not when they're coming at that velocity, right? Because when they're hitting them that fast, it's just, you can't really hit them when they're coming that fast and when they're that heavy. And there's like a .025 difference or .25 difference in seconds and like how close the pitches are. And softball is just like a quarter of a second faster or something, or like something like that. So it's just different than a baseball pitch, which is, so baseball gets me into curveballs and softball gets me into risers, right? Now, the thing about softballs is they have higher rotation, which is, again, why shorter field, because more rotations means when you hit it, the chance that it's on a off spin is a little bit more, is like a little bit higher shot, compared to if it was on a upspin, which baseball is a little bit easier to do. You're going to hit it way farther, okay? And the thing about baseball pitchers having faster or more time to react to a pitch is because baseball has so many more pitches, right? And obviously, the only time I watch softball is for College World Series, which I actually love watching it. It's really fun and enjoyable to watch. I honestly like softball more than baseball, if I'm going to keep it quite frankly. Like when I used to go to my brother's girlfriend's softball games, I would get way more into that than a baseball game. Because it's just like so much more action-packed. Baseball, it's like you're either out or you hit a home run. And it's so hard to get a middle ground in that, okay? Compared to what I would say is softball, it's You can hit it, since the fields are so much shorter, you hitting, like, a ground ball, like, you can make it to the base so much easier, which just makes it way more action-packed, in my opinion. And the fact that softball isn't, like, a big professional sport, I kind of have a problem with that, okay? But, back on track. So, baseball has curveballs, right? Softball has risers. A normal swing pattern is swing up. Because if you swing down, you're hitting it into the ground. When you swing up, you're aiming for the fence and trying to go over the fence. But when you're swinging up, it's a little bit easier. Like, again, I played baseball, like, when I was, like, 6 and 7 and 8. Haven't played since. So, my thing is, when a riser is thrown, a swing pattern, you go up, like I've said, probably like 10 times. I don't know why I keep repeating myself, but when you swing up, well, a riser, what does that do? That goes up. Now, curveballs, you could say, is easier to hit on an upswing because it's coming down when you're going up, easier to hit. But curveballs are around 20 miles per hour, like slower, like in that 10 to 20 range, and miles per hour slower than a normal pitch. And in softball, a riser is like more so one of the quicker pitches. So it's a little bit easier to predict how to hit a riser than a curveball, because making that change in a pitch, which again brings me back to reaction time, is sure you have a little bit more time to react, but it's also just a little bit harder to react since there's way more pitches. Like, I can name 20 pitches off the top of my mind for baseball and only like 5 for softball, right? It's like in softball, you still have that fastball, you still have a curve or a rise ball. Don't think you can throw a curveball in softball, but like maybe. Now, baseball, you have 4-seam, 2-seam, slider, changeup, curveball, 4-seam. Like, you have all these different pitches, and I'm sure there is more in softball, but baseball ones are just a little bit harder to hit, okay? Softball fields, though, that's why they're smaller, because it's made to be, well, if you can't hit this, since it's so much harder, it's a little bit faster reaction time, they're harder to hit, they're more dense, well, we'll give you a shorter field. So it kind of matches up with the light baseball with faster pitches is easier to hit far, with a softball pitch being thrown a little bit slower and faster reaction time. That's why it's a little bit shorter, because they're going to be harder to hit naturally, and since they're just a tad bit slower, or because they're slower, they're harder to hit hard, because that's kind of what changes the baseballs, because it's fast, it's easier to hit further, because again, on that backspin, front spin thing, if it's front spin, well, you're going to smash it, but if it's a backspin, you're not going to hit it. But that's my take on it. So, I'd say I might give this slight edge to baseball just because more pitches, faster. And, like, I know it's like, well, since they're a little bit closer, it is faster. But that doesn't change how hard it is to hit, right? That's just, you have to have a quicker reaction time, okay? Baseball, the pitches are still way faster, right? So, on the chance it's in the middle of the zone, to hit a home run, it's really hard compared to softball where they're closer, so you can kind of like see how it comes out of their hand. Baseball, you kind of just gotta swing, and if you don't hit it, you don't hit it. Softball, it's like, you can kind of see the pitch before it gets to you. Baseball, it's just like, there's so many different ones going through your head. You have to worry about, can I get on base, since it's just farther than softball to get on base. And, yeah. I don't want to get into it too much because, again, I watch baseball more than I watch softball. If you guys have your own opinions, please tell me, because I know I don't watch a lot of softball. But, You guys have your own personal opinions. And I'm tired. Obviously feel free to tell me. Again, I don't watch softball as much as I watch baseball, even though I don't like baseball. But, yeah, if you have your own opinion, comment down below. Tell me what you think is your own opinion and what you think is a little bit harder or what is a little bit easier about each. And, peace. Love y'all. See you on the next one.